want to read it straight from the ad?
Oh, I'll read it. You want to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it, sure.
Somebody read it.
Article 1, marijuana establishment zoning bylaw, to see if the town will vote to amend the town of Dayton zoning bylaws by amending section 2900 by deleting it in its entirety and replacing it with an article to modify the existing section relating to registered marijuana dispensaries as an allowed use by special permit within the medical use overlay district, to add marijuana establishments defined under Massachusetts general laws, chapter 94G,
You want, guys want a copy?
for adult marijuana use as allowed use by special permit within the new marijuana overlay district, which consists of those parcels with frontage on William Street beginning at that parcel identified as lot 127 of Assessor's Map 2 and ending at the town line. Copies of the proposed zoning bylaw amendments are available for review in the office of the town clerk and the planning office at 979 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, during regular business hours. The draft zoning bylaw amendments are also available on the planning department website. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated for the public hearing. And so, any comments from the board before we open it to the floor?
Well, we did have, not comments per se, on the bylaw as written. I guess the Board of Selectmen last night read all the articles, and they found some grammatical errors, word, there's a few extra words in there of instead of for, so forth and so on. But it's all grammatical, that there was no, nothing,
Substantive?
no. So, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and I believe Kerry did it to send it back up.
What I did was, we have to vote to accept the changes tonight. So you'll notice on the ones that I printed, there's some little slash marks here on the side. That represents where the changes were made.
Gotcha. Right, because I received your email earlier.
Yeah.
Right. Right, and there were just a couple of words like and the.
Yeah.
Couple spelling errors.
Process
and other
instead
than that, it
of
was good.
preceded.
One word should have been capitalized.
So they're
Maybe somebody's
minor
testing out their
changes.
marijuana when they wrote it.
That was our lawyer.
Which selectman was doing it?
That was our lawyer.
Good man.
I'd make a
Woman.
motion to amend the bylaw as presented by the secretary.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Okay.
let's hear that. I have no other comments.
Okay. Folks,
I'm good.
comments, questions? Probably best to state your name and address. Make sure you're not from one of those out-of-town places.
I spoke with him, he does live in town, and the certain circumstances, you can't release his name
Okay.
out here, so.
This isn't actually recorded, is it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Is it audibly recorded?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Ah,
Recorded and kept
I
for
can show you my
posterity.
driver's license.
That's okay, don't worry about it.
No,
That's all right.
we had a good conversation the other day,
Yeah,
so.
I was being half facetious if somebody came
Carrie,
from out of town and
I
asked
believe that
questions.
Carrie has your name and address already,
yeah.
so, for the purpose of the minutes.
I'm in kind of a unique situation with all this. Wasn't planning on being in a unique situation. It just gets a little complicated, and I mean, it is what it is. But the long story short, I mean, obviously it's something the town's gonna do. So, be that as it may at that point, because the town voted for it, I noticed a section where it says that, you know, it can't be located within 100 feet of any residential zoning district, but you can't have one within 1,000 feet of another one. Now, I don't know who those guys are, but they're not from here. And his dad might have worked in town here, but he ain't from here. my family's owned my farm since 1925. And I thought it was a little strange
I
that
think he means like the people next door.
the people
But
who
you
are
don't
looking
actually
to
know
do
where we're
this.
from.
Oh, yeah, the people that
It would help them
want
if they
to
knew
do
that we
something.
were in the zone.
We're in the zone.
Yeah, I get that.
I was pretty sure you did. I just thought it was a little strange. It's like, you're gonna create a zone, but then you're gonna limit it so that only one person has a license.
Not
And that's fine if
necessarily.
only one person has a license, but at the same time, if you're going to enhance the property value of everybody, you should enhance the property value of everybody involved, which would include myself. I mean, there shouldn't be a limitation on whether or not I can build a structure at some point in the future. I
Right?
mean, my property is somewhat significant, but at the same time, you know, I looked at it and said, if you're gonna put it 100 feet for residential, you should put it at 100 feet for
Yeah, we're more than 100
any of this other.
We go 500 feet.
Well, no
Hypothetically.
one has made any applications for anything, so,
I thought they did.
no. So in reality, you could make that application.
Well, I don't have millions of dollars.
You don't have to, you just have to have somebody that.
Has millions of dollars.
That you would work with. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's millions. It's
I don't-
quite a significant amount, I agree. I absolutely agree with you. But if the bylaw were to pass, and this is just me thinking logically, not with any special knowledge of anything, but if the bylaw were to pass, and the word got out that this is the new district, and whoever, the people with millions of dollars, went and looked at that district and said, look at that piece of land, then you might be approached. You might put an ad in the paper saying, hey, I want to do something with my property other than raise goats or whatever it is you have there.
I don't like raising goats.
Yeah, well, then,
You know,
but I get your point,
One of my,
because,
again, it's kind of like a multi-headed hydra thing.
yeah, you make a good point.
I mean,
If we're gonna have a zoning district of multiple lots, then each lot should be able to do it. But then would it be like a red light district, so to speak, of a green light district maybe, or
Well,
or
we're
a
limited by,
smoky district?
Exactly, there you go.
no, we're limited as to how many dispensaries can go in town based on the amount of liquor stores in town, which would be at 20%.
so you're two.
So, let's say there's 5 or 7 liquor stores, I think the state will only allow us to have 1 dispensary in our town. It's based on the amount of liquor stores.
The other thing is, people, what, these bylaws, what's this got to do in reality with the state of Massachusetts? Their
Well-
laws governing marijuana.
Well, the way the laws are written is that if we don't have a zoning district, then any business district could theoretically be a place to sell marijuana. Now, perhaps at town meeting, someone's gonna raise that point and say, what's wrong with that? Let's make it more general, but if we do that, then we're not controlling where it occurs.
If I wanted to make a change in these, can I make a change in these things, right?
I think that the time to make a change would be at the town meeting.
no, we can do it tonight.
We can do it.
Yeah, we can do it tonight.
Yeah, because it is, as the gentleman said, not to take your floor away, you have to remember, 100 feet to 1,000 feet, residential areas. I would like to see you go 300 to 500 feet. The residential.
Well, the argument becomes that would infringe on my ability to build a house there.
yeah, that's, actually, it was 1,000
Okay,
originally.
let's compromise.
Go ahead.
I'm Irene Alley from 1928 County Street in Dayton. When we had this come up at the town meeting before, everybody was looking at 1905 County Street.
Right.
We live across the street. Now, I found out tonight from Mr. Pius that that's gonna come up again. And being neighbors that live across the street from that building,
Hold tight.
we don't get notified if he decides he's gonna put a dispensary in there?
Well, the process would be, they've collected I believe they've collected signatures to get on the town ballot, on the town warrant for
Yeah.
the town meeting. Then it
Again.
will go before the town meeting again,
They were there yesterday looking at the building.
and the town meeting will ask for the planning board's recommendation, and we have already voted to recommend not to rezone it. Now, if, despite our recommendation not to rezone it, the town votes to rezone it, then
You're gonna go through a whole review.
then we're kind of stuck. But I like to think that we carry a little weight with the town, and people take our,
So if I say we go, let's say 300 feet, and this gentleman says, well, that prohibits me from building a house. You plan on building a marijuana facility there?
I'm not actually planning on building anything. All I'm saying is that
You know,
if I've owned that land for a long time. My
Yeah.
family's owned it since 1925.
I understand that.
Some guy moves into town.
how would
and
how would this affect
Because
your?
we have
concept
2
is
daughters and a
some-
granddaughter,
that-
and at some point, they may want to build homes on our property.
You can build. I'm talking a marijuana facility.
Oh, you're talking about that, where we were talking
No,
about
you're
the
just talking
100
about
feet.
another marijuana
Because you
facility?
mentioned the
That's what I said.
residential.
I mean, if we could do it.
The residential I'm talking about, not the 1,000 feet, the
No, I'm getting
residential.
confused.
Well, I can tell you they're only gonna build one facility, if any, in the entire town.
Yeah.
So where that one goes,
Nobody really knows right now.
right, nobody knows.
I heard, probably coming here tonight, I heard it again, it was on William Street. We were looking at William Street.
Well, that's where we're talking about now.
And I heard
That's
that
where we wanna set up a zone.
there is an owner at, is it 100?
100.
100 William
William
Street
Street.
who's interested in doing something along
That
those
would be-
lines.
You know, I have to agree with the gentleman about, because when I first read this, I thought to myself the same thing. So if we create a district, and it's 1,000 feet before, it can only be 1,000, not within 1,000 feet of any RMD, which is the
Another
registered
facility.
medical facility, or establishment, meaning they can cultivate, manufacture edibles, and have a retail store. So, you know, his opportunities are limited if,
That gets that.
you know, if
occurs at
that gets
100.
done. As I read this weeks ago, struggle with maybe we should delete that. Item E.
Because we're a pre-existing farm too. I mean, we are a farm. We grow things.
We
grow
we
plants,
actually
we grow
got in the high
animals.
tunnel program
you
for the
know.
state, and it's sitting in the other
Yeah.
field, ready to be built. And
Oh,
my daughter and
what
I,
program?
it's a high tunnel.
It's
The
a
state
it's a
provides it,
similar
and we're
thing
in
to
a growing
greenhouse.
program, and we're real excited, because it took us over a year to get into the program, and then get the approval, and we've now got it delivered, and now we can build it, and we're excited. But, yeah,
You know, we've worked,
we're trying to make
So
it
this
work.
one, you're talking about the 1,000-foot one.
yeah,
Yes.
we've worked through a lot of adversity at our place. I mean, our house burned down and a lot of people like, you should sell your animals and whatever. And we're like, dude, we ain't doing that. This is our place and that's what we're doing. You know, this is our town. And it is what it is. I just don't think that's right that my property should be limited.
It's not, if you wanted to, I don't know what your frontage is, but you have said 2 daughters, you said?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to subdivide into some Form A lots to provide for lots for your family to build houses, the overlay district is for marijuana, but the underlying district allows the houses. So you would not be prohibited from building a house on those lots. There's no way it doesn't.
Actually, the underlying district would also allow you to create a business or build a house, because it's a mixed-use zone.
So you wouldn't be limited. If the town agreed that that was a good location for a marijuana district, that would not have an impact on you as far as building a home. It wouldn't have an impact as far as anything, except you might have a neighbor that has a retail location, which is similar to what's there now. I mean, that's kind of why we decided on that spot. It's across the street
Right,
from
from the auto auction.
the auto
which
auction.
makes sense.
It's not a highly desirable residential area, no offense
Obviously.
meant.
That's fine.
Oh,
It's
no,
all
it
good.
doesn't bother us.
That's why we farm it.
Yeah.
Our family's farmed it, we farm it, it is what it is. It used to be across the street from a dog track. Then it was across the street from a flea market.
All right, that's right.
And at one time, I mean, we weren't directly across the street, but the Rehoboth Fair.
But you do make a good point that if we do keep 2925E in place, then we may as well have just rezoned that one lot
Yeah,
and not
Yeah.
gone through this whole
I'm in
process.
favor of deleting E.
yeah.
If we could, I'd appreciate it.
We could just make a
Does it
motion.
make sense? Well, I will make a motion to withdraw from section 2925, subsection E, that states any other RMD or marijuana establishment.
Second motion.
In favor?
Aye.
There you go.
I don't think, well, as Mr. Wood said, we're gonna have one, perhaps two, even if we get somebody to come to town.
Yeah.
That's gonna be it, so. As I mentioned to him, is it still the Cannabis Task Force?
Yeah.
They're still calling it that?
It's gonna change the name to this.
In your next meet,
Sounds like law enforcement.
Yeah, they don't like the task force, but,
I texted Brett, and I asked him about number of permits, and he said you're gonna be discussing it at the next meeting
yeah.
this month. So we'll know better at that time how many permits are gonna allow.
Yeah, the way the state regs are now, we're probably only gonna be allowed one recreational, unless we get 3 more package stores.
We had two.
Okay,
We
so
only-
where do we
we have two
stand then
package
on the
stores.
residential?
No, we have more than that. Well, liquor
We'll
licenses, I
finish
guess.
this one,
Oh,
then we'll get,
Huh?
Yeah,
we'll finish this
Yeah,
and then we'll get to that.
yeah, liquor licenses, yeah.
So any other,
Besides, I can't see why would they wanna have two, I mean, it's not like gas
well, but on
station.
the other
be
hand,
amazed.
on the other
You
hand,
would be amazed.
100 might be a retail space, and your property might be a grow space. And why would one
You got the
preclude
high,
the ability of another? I'm not saying you would, but you are a
I'm going to be
farm.
frank in saying this wasn't,
You can't grow it in a high tunnel anyway, so.
you have to grow it inside of a building.
Oh,
It
yeah.
has to have security, it has to have fencing.
Oh, yeah,
it
it's
has to
not
have-
a, it's not a
You know,
simple thing.
it's not something that's simple, and it's something that costs a dramatic sum of money. Whatever the case may be.
That's the bottom line.
It is, it costs twisted, sick money. You know, at the same time, like, I had a meeting with Mr. Pius, and, you know, last year, I had, you know, I came home from work, I parked my car, I was talking on my phone, it was the middle of the summer, it was July or August,
It was July 4th,
well, it was the 4th of July, go figure.
it was.
I get out of my vehicle, and all of a sudden, I look past the field that I drove by just a couple minutes before, and there's 2 girls in bikinis, and I'm not lying to you. There's one of my goats standing there at the fence, and they have a beer bottle, and they're trying to, literally, imagine if one of these places opened up next to my
We've had
farm.
people
What's gonna
feed the
happen? Somebody's
goats
gonna take a
and make
pot
them
brownie and try to
sick.
feed it to my goats? Really?
Well, it isn't
I mean,
just,
think
it
about
isn't just your plot, it's a lot of places in town that way. You never know what's gonna happen with these people.
Oh, they're
I mean,
crazy.
when you stop and
They're
you think
absolutely
Look at
about it.
Colorado,
it's
they're
like-
having a fiasco now.
I know.
Well, the money, you got the money, yeah, you got the money, all right.
There's not a lot of money in this. Everybody thinks the town's gonna make big bucks, and it's not. City of Taunton's going through a
Does
thing right
Taunton-
now.
Somebody told me Taunton has one, do you?
What
They
is,
do.
Yeah.
what is
Do
the
we
city
know
of
what
Taunton
they've
going
made from
through?
that?
Somerset,
Well, they're,
Or have they actually? or have they
Somerset's
gone-
gonna make $500,000 a year on
Yeah.
theirs.
Somerset just voted to allow one on the road to Braden Point, and the agreement is that the people that are gonna build this thing are gonna pay the town $700,000 a year minimum. And that's only for medical, and then if they go into recreational, there'll be a 3%
See, everybody's
tax
looking at
on
the
it.
dollar line.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Nobody's looking at the inner structure to keep it, things,
Well,
it's, you ready to gear up your police department?
Well,
we talked about that.
We gotta
right
have a
across
lot
the
of
street from
things, yeah.
1901 County Street is a gas station. You may as well call it a head shop for all intents and purposes. It's got all these bongs and pipes and things and papers, and it's,
Right, and a fire chief over there ain't got enough brains to go over there and tell them, take it out,
you
and
can't.
open up the window. Oh, yes, you can.
What do you mean
I'm
you
the
can't?
fire chief, I was a fire chief of this town. That display window, he has to have 100% visibility of that whole gas.
Oh,
pump,
really?
And he does
Yes.
not.
Oh,
Okay? And while he's pumping gas, he's supposed to stand there next to the panic button. He doesn't. He's over there selling food, cigarettes, and glass pipes.
Oh, yeah, I go with it. I live right
I
down
ca-
Pleasant Street.
I can't tell you how many times I went in there, shut it down.
That would change,
Good.
but at any rate, if they shut it down, they would open it up and this, my point wasn't,
Oh, I know where you're coming from.
it's out there.
It's
And
push me, pull me.
It's a matter of,
Yeah,
it's a matter of having some
But-
control.
you gotta control it.
Right, well, that's
That's
what we're trying to do. We're trying to do, and
Yeah,
there will be unintended circumstances and consequences of these actions, but there are also unintended consequences of doing nothing and keeping our fingers crossed.
I think that really the problem that we have here, in all sincerity, is, first of all, the town voted for it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not.
I didn't,
Neither did we.
You know, but it's one of those things where, once you have and once that vote is
Yeah, what do you
occurred,
do with it?
we're forced into a situation where you have to have it. And then you run into the situation where, like I spoke with Mr. Pius about, you know, we have a much, well, you know, you ran a fire department. You know, you have a lot of people whose children and grandchildren are going to be affected by these things. And there really isn't any, once the people have voted, there's nothing you can do to stop it.
You know,
It is what it is.
I
I mean,
think,
the police will. be
Nobody
there.
can come to town unless they have a community host agreement from the Board of Selectmen. So we would hope that the Board of Selectmen would make sure that whoever's proposing the business is legitimate, they have a plan, they have a security plan. And all the regulations, and the state regulations is 88 pages of it. Even the parking areas, there can be no signs in the parking lots, there can be no shrubbery in the parking lots. There has to be so many cameras per square foot.
the thing is, I'm a
So they've done their
hardcore
homework.
ding dong, or if you wanna call it that, when it comes to drugs. Because I was sick and tired of taking Dayton's ambulance and picking up the same bodies back and forth to the hospital for treatment. And when you bring them the Narcan and bring them out of their high, now the person's pissed off at you because you ruined their high. Okay?
He knows
And you're
all
looking at a
about
woman who
that.
got beat up in the emergency room who worked there. Okay, a druggie took her on, beat the hell out of her. I get a phone call, yeah, your wife is, never mind, some of this stuff, okay? I'm just saying, we have to do it, the gentleman's correct, we voted, blah, blah, now what do we do with the program? Do we put our thumb on it and say, this is it, or are we gonna go along?
I'm not
That's where
sure
it
how,
comes
once the people voted, you can put your
you
name
know,
on it.
it's enough, bad enough that the town of Dayton had to put the bill for the druggies I took back and forth to the hospital. Sometimes the same person 3 times in one day. And this is different, again, it's recreational, but it goes up, but it starts here and it climbs.
I thought this was supposed to be a medical thing. Is it a recreational thing?
Recreational.
No, recreational is one thing, medical is
Medical is
different.
another.
Right, but I thought this was gonna be a medical
This,
thing.
this zone is gonna encompass,
Both.
Both.
plus
It's
cultivation.
up to the person applying for the license as to what they're applying
The
for.
license is expensive, and then what
Right.
they, what
Okay.
they zone for it too, that's another thing. You want medical, plus recreational, plus grow, plus how you wanna do it.
Right.
I believe the task force voted in favor of recreational, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why, I got the impression it was a medical. Okay,
Probably because the 100 County Street is trying to put in a medical, but
that's probably the case. But it's the same thing, like I said to Mr.
I
Pius
mean,
the other day, I was
1905
like,
County Street.
no,
1901.
William Street,
Oh,
William Street.
William Street.
you're gonna, you'll have,
1901 County Street.
it's not hard for people to go out these days and get a, whatever that card thing is.
For marijuana.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you have to
Medical
have a
card,
medical
yeah.
marijuana card
Right.
in
and
order
that-
to purchase.
And that's not hard, I mean, I deal with people that have.
People, fortune says if they wanted it.
Anyway, all right, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut up now.
The whole thing.
So chief, what are you looking for?
Me, I'm looking for footage on residential,
Okay.
okay? 100 feet. Your yard's not 100, it's more than 100 feet, your whole yard.
So from where
But we wanna say. I
the
would
building
say,
across
we
from
expand-
us to our house, what is the footage there?
Well, that ain't, well, you know,
Yeah, see, I wasn't, the bylaw is pretty specific to residential district and not residential
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Now, you told me tonight that
my house,
somewhere, because it's grandfathered,
Yes.
is that what you're telling me?
right, when they zoned the town, Mrs. DeMello was the owner at the time. That house was left residential with the other areas are business. 138 is mostly all business, that house is residential.
So if I looked on a zoning map, your house would be,
Should be residential, that's what I get technical, residential.
oh God, I can't see this one.
That large one up on the wall over there,
It might be on
it's the
the,
same one, it's just
We're at
bigger for you.
1928 County Street. We're
Right
next
across
to
from
the
Judge's
package
Plaza.
store
where they wanna put the
and
metal.
the garage. The White
I
House
thought
with the
that
big
voted
rock in
down.
front of
Huh?
it.
Didn't that get voted down?
You know, there is a little white spot
They
right
did,
here.
but it's
That's
coming back up
The
again.
That could be
guy
a
that
house.
owns the gas station is wanting to do a dispensary?
No. The building, the plaza across from us,
Yeah,
that's where they wanted to put
On the
that
second
medical
floor.
marijuana
They
in.
got voted down.
well, they were gonna do a store. Okay, like a thing.
But you've
Find it.
also got property and houses behind on Somerset Avenue that also abut the back of that.
I don't see any white spots.
I don't see any white on this.
Yeah, I don't see a white spot.
No, they just tax them at a
Yeah.
residential rate.
It's residential,
Yeah.
already checked on. So when I go to sell a place, I got an option, commercial or residential.
Yeah, it's mixed use right now, I believe.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mrs. DeMello, I think it was 42 they moved in, the house was moved from Main
Yeah.
Street to there.
Where that section, that
ICI
house
parking lot.
was
that-
moved up to County Street.
Oh, County Street.
Oh, good.
Got a lot of history there. So now, it's, that, when they rezoned the town, started with the numbering systems and the whole, you know, what do we do about this house, and then into a lot of, you know, grandfather here, grandfather there. So if I go to sell it, I want to turn it into a dentist's office or a lawyer, then you know, commercial or whatever.
I kind of have to agree that 100 feet to a residential district is a little low.
I think so. No. Anybody got any thoughts on what you think, you know, anybody ever looked at that?
Woody, do you know if the state is,
Well, I was just thinking that maybe we should not, like, vary from what the state is calling
I
for.
think that's what the state, that's
Yeah.
the state numbers.
Why not?
Yeah, one
That's what I
hundred
thought I
feet.
read as
I
well.
think we had to submit something to the state to change it.
You can abrogate a state law provided it's better than the state law. You can't go lower than the state law.
Better for who?
Hmm?
Better for who?
If your town can come up with a law better than what the state is appropriating or approving, you can go ahead
But
forward with
for
it.
him, 50 feet is better, for you, 300 feet is better, which is better?
You know why you just said state law? State says 100.
Right,
If you said, well, in our town, it would be beneficial to the town or whoever to go 200,
right.
you don't have a problem. You can't go 50 feet because they already got it established at 100.
So what you're saying is it can be more restrictive, but not, better is a relative
Well,
term.
the
Or restrictive
term
is
you
more
want, but you
specific.
cannot go lower, there's numbers involved.
Uh,
100 feet's,
Yeah, but you're,
you know, when you talk, we're always talking with developers and they talk about 50 feet like it's 5 miles.
oh,
You
yeah,
know,
buffer
everything's a
zones.
50-foot buffer when you're talking to
Yeah.
developers. And they talk to you like that 50 feet is 5 miles. So 100 feet is really,
is
it's a
what?
short distance. I think 50 feet is a very short distance when you're
Yeah,
talking
really.
about buffer zones.
Because that's a road,
Right,
that's a highway.
so
I got a highway.
you're just saying you want this more than 100 feet from your property? Or anyone's property?
Anyone's property, not
anyone's
mine
property.
alone. I just
Anyone's
think-
property.
I just think, if you take the topographical barriers of the town. A lot of homes are set on property, a lot of houses sit way back. What about the front of the house? Property's in front.
The thing is, you know, the state came up with some good guidelines
Building a place?
for these facilities,
Yes. across the
so that
street, wanna
they don't have
build
big
it.
signs, they're not lit up.
You know that
You're
George,
you're really not gonna know they're there
Yeah.
other than the
They
traffic.
want
Yeah.
to build the whole floor.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
They're not drawing you in, they don't have banners, they don't have lights in the sign, in the
The
windows.
building probably about,
They can't even have signs in the parking lot.
I don't know, maybe 4 or
They can't
5
have
feet
shrubbery,
from the property lines.
It's pretty
I
plain.
find it was 300 feet, I even compromised.
See, I don't agree with 500, but I think 200's too low.
200, 300.
If they're just gonna
But that's still,
rebuild the thing
you know-
anyway, if I may. If the building's pre-existing and they're just modifying the interior and it's already 500 feet away, the only thing that's gonna take care of you is anything over 500 feet, is that not correct?
Well, they got houses behind them on the other side of that building, so that would negate that whole thing right there.
But they're not rebuilding.
Yeah, nothing's going down there,
But how
Chief.
would
Nothing's
that
going
affect
there.
our house?
I've heard that song
heard that
before.
before.
I
Yeah.
thank you,
Longer?
but I've heard that song
Yeah.
before. You've been here long enough, you know about
Yeah,
it.
It would take
You
concerted
guys know
effort
that.
by the proponents of this article to get enough people to come to town meeting.
No, I agree.
The
They were
town
able
meetings.
to get enough
I don't know if any of this will pass.
signatures.
signature is signing your name.
There you go. Now
Taking
we're
an evening
talking
out of your
cheese.
busy
Right.
life
You
to
know
come to
that
town
part.
meeting is
Let me
another
ask
thing
you the
entirely.
next
That's why
question.
we have 120, 130 people
Is the
come to town
town
meeting.
theoretically required to do this?
Well,
To have a,
I don't think any town should.
we,
That's what
if
happened.
we don't establish these bylaws, then
Right.
anybody can come and put it anywhere they want.
with the town's
Well,
agreement, but if
Right.
a marijuana developer comes to town and they've identified 5 different locations
Okay.
that they wanna put in one, and they come to the town and the town says, no, you can't do anything, cause we don't want it. Then they sue the town because we've got 5 locations here, you can't, you're telling us none of them are suitable? Why? You don't have a bylaw that restricts
Didn't
it,
restrict it.
so we're gonna sue you, now the town's fighting for a lost cause because
Yeah.
You're
Because you
gonna put
don't
it somewhere,
have
because
something.
so
they're gonna
yeah.
get
Because we
it.
voted yes.
If it didn't pass at a ballot vote,
then we
Then
could
you
have a
could do it.
moratorium.
right, then we could have a moratorium.
What was the percentage that it passed by?
And it didn't, I don't know exactly, but it didn't matter, it passed.
Yeah.
It was only 1% that mattered. So, once
It
it
was
passed,
close.
it passed.
It's,
It was fairly close.
Yeah,
But it wasn't that
I don't know
close.
the
Were there a
number.
lot of people that voted?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
quite a
a
few that
it was a
night.
big election.
Yeah, it was a
night.
presidential election, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, it passed overwhelmingly.
Huh.
It didn't make it didn't, the establishment where they wanted didn't pass. That 1905.
Oh, yeah, that was
Right,
at a town
right.
meeting.
That didn't have the percentage.
Right,
So
did not pass.
That didn't pass,
What was
but the
that?
other one passed.
It had to be voted, approved by 2/3 vote.
This
Consider
town
that
meeting
came-
is gonna be a lot of people. There's a leash law on the warrant.
Oh.
That's gonna draw a lot of people.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be interesting.
That'll be a lot.
Chief, how about this?
You better start having deep wallets.
I don't agree with changing the footage.
Why
Now,
not?
Because what's the difference between 100 feet and 200 feet? It's
What's the
still gonna be
difference?
right there.
Come on my yard, I'll measure it out for you.
Well, I have a yard too, chief.
So you wanna go measure
Okay,
your
so
yard?
if they were gonna put one next to my house, whether it was 100 feet away or 200 feet away,
Yeah.
I can still throw a rock 200 feet.
Doesn't matter, you're not throwing rocks, you're throwing marijuana.
you can,
Let's not talk riddles,
You know,
talk facts.
you're not
You know.
preventing anything by stretching it by 100 feet.
No, but I am preventing
Well,
my property, you
Let's
know, taking,
speak in
Well-
terms of specifics.
you know, seriously,
The southern border of this district,
yeah.
there's one residence out in the back in the bushes. It's,
Really?
I'm not even sure anybody lives in there.
there's a house, I've seen
Oh,
cars
you mean
there.
behind
That's their
the
place.
car?
Are you talking about the?
I'm talking about
Austin up there?
the
Williams Street.
district that is,
It's
that
being
we're,
proposed.
have the hearing for now, not
Yeah.
anywhere
Yeah, where
else.
the body shop
Williams
is, there's
Street.
a little house.
There's a little house back in the bushes.
Yep.
If this bylaw passes, then that would be that would be the southern boundary of the marijuana district.
Okay.
Now, the abutting house would be out of the marijuana district and remain in a residential zone. So now, if the people in this house that's mostly bushes wanted to rezone to marijuana, to do something with marijuana, they would have to be 100 feet from their boundary.
Right.
Now, 100 feet from their boundary is almost the next lot. So they're basically the buffer zone for the marijuana district.
No, he's not talking
Where's
about the
the
tiny
place in
little
the bushes?
They're in
places.
Sylvan
We would be the
Business
north
District.
end.
No, you're at the north end. I'm talking about the southern boundary of this
You know
new
the body
district.
shop? If
Yeah.
you ride by, there's a little house.
There's a tiny little house
There's a
there.
house in the bushes,
Mostly
and it is a
bushes,
separate
like you
lot.
said.
I didn't
They're
think anybody
giant
lived there.
I've been
bushes.
there 100,000 times, you know, isn't it yet?
Well, there is a house in
Yeah.
there.
Really?
Because when I drew the boundary,
Yeah.
I drove back and forth, looked in, saw a car, I didn't see much activity.
I bet you're the person that our granddaughter seen that kept saying there was a man, and he kept looking and driving up and down the road. She's 6 and she's playing. And see, because of the animals, and we've had a lot of people after our fire, be all upset because we kept our animals. We got reported a lot falsely for all kind of silly things. Anyway, but here or
Somebody turned
there.
around and said we had our
We're gonna leave it,
goats.
leave it.
And
Our dogs were
so she
staked out
was
in the
like,
field
she's
without
always
shade.
on the
They
lookout.
were out in the hay eating the
You
hay.
belong.
You would be better off
That's funny,
amending
but I
it on
bet
the
you were the
town meeting
man
floor.
that she seen.
I don't know, maybe, but I also went to Google Maps and you didn't
Or
see me
attempting to.
on a satellite, but so
See, both sides of me are clear. I got a package store this side, body shop on that side. It's across the street and traffic coming in and out of it. That's big number two. The other thing here is that landlord unfortunately is letting that property go to hell in a hay basket. It's really getting bad. You know? And whether those people move in, there was people there yesterday going on the second floor, the same group that was there previous. Looking for
Oh, at the Alice's.
Allison. And,
So they have
I think they're probably contractors, there's some issues down there that need to be taken care of.
the place is falling apart.
I tell you what, what's his name, owns Allison's restaurant,
Brian Stone.
Brian, he brought this up.
He
And it's
wasn't
just-
even aware at
And
that
he
time
wasn't
of
aware,
the
and
town
at the
meeting.
time, when he started about the building and all, they said, well, that is the issue, sit down. Cut him off in a hurry, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because the amendment said, we're talking marijuana, not building. Well,
Oh, what the owner was thinking is he can lease the upstairs to somebody with money and spend
Yeah.
all the money
Spend it
to
all on
fix the
fixing
building.
Yep, exactly.
But then they have a 24-unit apartment complex upstairs that they were talking about for a while too, but they
that was
couldn't
part of it. In
solve the
fact, they brought a
septic.
lot of lumber up there, 2x4s with the log
Yeah.
up there, you know. And then that died, I don't know, whatever. Then he took a license out for sell used cars there.
Yeah, I remember
That
seeing a
died.
Corvette sitting there forever.
Yeah, that died.
Yeah, and they
So I don't know how, you know, well,
they don't have the septic solution to anything there, so
no, they got that.
that raised
Raised
system
section there, that's
maybe
about
takes
all.
care
I
of
don't know.
Alice's,
I
but
have
it's
a
not gonna take
question.
care
Were
of
you people
24.
involved in that at all? I
No,
don't
the
know.
Board of Health is.
Oh, Board of Health.
I have a question. If by chance he tries for a marijuana dispensary, whatever, where does that involve with children being in the little theater group in that building, children coming into the restaurant?
Hold on a minute. You said a little theater group?
Yeah.
Is that
That's,
considered a
that
school?
qualifies as
Yeah.
a school zone.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's,
So then if there's-
they teach children.
You've got children in there, for, you know, even though
Yeah,
they're
you're
they're
teaching.
there
That
for a short
qualifies as
period
a
of
school
time.
zone.
Really?
You've got children and families
Thanks,
that
Val.
go into that restaurant. Does that throw something against it?
It doesn't really,
Yeah.
I mean, if the town voted to approve that, then if I were the developer, I'd buy out the little theater group and have them go somewhere else personally. I mean, that's the
It's not
solution.
gonna happen anyway.
I don't see it happening.
We can raise that.
Thank you, you know, I feel better about it, but, you know. Well, there are some issues down there, unfortunately. The building has
I'm
nothing to
just
do with the
afraid,
people
you know,
trying to sell
you just mentioned
marijuana.
it to me, thinking that's why we were here tonight. You never know what's gonna come up at town meeting.
Yeah.
This is true.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion at this time to
Okay,
keep the distance
yeah, all right.
within one, shall not be, wait a minute, no, shall be located within, I'm gonna leave it alone, 29, 24, leave the 100 feet as is.
I'll
And
second.
if you want to, you can attempt to amend at a town meeting.
I'll second that.
We'll see how town meeting goes.
Yeah,
All in favor?
I just wanna find out too, where we're at with the state. Can we make it more restrictive? I believe we can. But, yeah, we'll see.
No, do some homework, I guess.
I don't think you have any trouble down
Upstairs, ask him.
County.
No.
Nobody's going to be.
I agree.
They got shot down. You know,
And
they'll get shot down
Because
again.
he's up
And it
there.
was shot down without any other option, where the
Right.
town may have found, may have
Well, it's a little theater.
got all kinds of tax money. It may have been more favorably voted upon, considering it was the only option available, but we're giving the town another option. So it gives more people reason to vote that down than before, is my point, although not well said, but I guess you get my drift. But I don't,
Plus, it doesn't have our recommendation anyway, so.
right.
I'll get another one.
But that has
Hopefully
never,
that has a little bit of
Qualified.
say.
sometimes the taxpayers go against the recommendations of different
Yeah, I
boards
know
that
it's-
come in and make recommendations
Yeah,
for-
but down there, they're,
Who's in charge of that little theater group?
Glorima. Her name is Glorima? Well, I don't know.
She from around here?
What's the last name?
Vargas.
Vargas.
She's from Dayton?
Yeah.
No, they're down there, I mean, that's where the children go.
Yeah.
It's a small,
Okay.
something small.
They're not
She
going
used to
there.
do the Dayton Moms group,
That's all right with me.
not happening.
Dayton Moms group.
They're going to William Street, if they ever come.
If it comes at all,
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
so, it is what it is.
You know, a few things, as I explained to you the other day, three things have to happen. First of all, the town's got to approve zoning. Second of all, they come back to us for a special permit. And depending on what they're doing and, you know, any feedback from the people, then we may or not grant the special permit. And if we grant the special permit, then it goes to the selectmen for a host agreement. So there's three things that need to happen before this can happen. And the state, right, Woody? State has to approve it, so there's like four things, four controls on this.
Last time I got on the Mass webpage about the marijuana, they still haven't approved anything in Mass. They have a lot of things written down, but they haven't decided, yes, this is what we're gonna do. A lot of their, you know, amendments,
Yeah.
or whatever you wanna call them.
Well, the people that were interested in 100 William Street met, their attorney met with the town administrator. And she was asking them, what are they gonna do for us, and maybe they could buy us a police car or other things, and we haven't heard from them since. So I don't
That
think,
sounds good, what can you
Yeah.
buy for me? You know what, I got into a program like that with the fire
Yeah.
department, and I stayed right away from it.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he gives you a police car today, and tomorrow you may have to go down there and arrest him.
that's right.
There's nothing
And I was
wrong
the
with
fire
that.
department,
Arrest him.
I had a guy come up to me one day, you know, can I help you out? And then come to find out, he turns around and tells me, well, just remember, if my house ever catches fire, don't put the fire out. I wanna collect the insurance.
Yeah.
You know what the law says? Mr. Fire Chief, you will put out the fire or you'll go to jail. Yeah, because now it becomes a fraud case. It's a, you know, so you, people say, well, we can get this. Other towns have done it, rightly so.
Yeah, we've done it,
I've
we
always
did it
had
with
this-
Aquaria.
You
And
know,
you did
Yeah.
it with the Dayton Power Company.
Titan Power, Aquaria bought us a couple police
they
cars.
did, fine, that's great.
Is
I
that
didn't
the
do
high
it.
pressure water line thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's the high pressure water
Yeah.
line thing, yeah.
the desalinization plant.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we ever had any problems with that?
no,
No, we don't use their water.
really,
It
you don't even know,
just, it just blows through town.
but that, you don't even
They
know that
send it
plant's
to
there.
Brockton from here.
Right,
They make it here and they send it there,
You don't even know that plant's there.
but they pay our taxes.
right.
No,
And they bought us a couple police cars.
They put that big cement wall up on 138.
yeah, beside the
Yeah, those
driveway.
guys,
Yeah.
I know.
No.
Really don't know the power plant's there either.
No,
No, don't go there.
I'll be honest with you, I really do.
I caught more hell in that power plant because the chimney was too high. You remember?
So your
70
phone,
feet, they brought it on. Talk about. They burn natural gas. There's nothing coming out the stack but heat.
right.
You know, smoke or anything. The only other complaint we had was the cooling, the propellers through the cooling. It popped in the air. They had too much of an angle. They just came. So when I was a fire chief having the hearings on that thing, oh, God. Now nobody even pays attention to it.
Why did it matter how tall that chimney was?
I don't know.
I'm just asking. I just wanted
You
to
don't
know.
know.
The thing is, you ask the guy in the airplane.
Yeah.
We good?
Anything else that,
No, thank you for your time.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
lady.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, good luck.
Well, hopefully they take your recommendations.
any motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that formal motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Amen.
Mr.
Thank you,
Secretary, do
Cable.
you have anything to say?
Thank you.
Just take your minutes.
That could be detrimental to your life.
You all have a good night.
Shared
You
your
as well.
Yeah,
secret.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No problem.